Can I tell you about my period? Hey y'all, welcome back to Trimester 0. If you're new here, I'm Martisa, a Black, queer, feminist, homemaker, gardener, and hopefully soon to be first-time mama. On this channel, I share my preconception journey, all things queer family building, wellness, and joy. So if you're into that kind of content, please like and subscribe to help reach more folks like us and build this community. I'm in my trimester 0 or my preconception phase, and today we're discussing cycle tracking, specifically how I'm confirming ovulation and getting really specific on my timing for insemination. Because not only is this just good information about my body and health, but as a queer person where timing literally costs money, I need to get as specific as possible. And I just want to do a quick note. I'm a cisgendered woman, and it's important to acknowledge that queer conception is anything but a monolith. I know that this conversation may not feel affirming for us all, so please skip and take care of yourself if you are a birthing person who may not have a positive relationship with your reproductive organs or your cycle, or don't even desire to have one at all. Let's start with the basics. So the menstrual cycle has two phases. The follicular phase, this is from your period day 1 until ovulation. During this time, the body is developing an egg in the ovary. This phase can vary in length from person to person and cycle to cycle. Then there is the luteal phase. This is from ovulation until the next period, the first day of your next period. This phase is usually more consistent, typically like 12 to 16 days, with 14 days being the average. Ovulation happens in between those two phases, usually somewhere between day 12 and 16, but it varies. And this is key. An AFAB body is only fertile for about 5 days total, a few days leading up to ovulation and the ovulation day itself. Most cycle tracking apps use a general algorithm to predict ovulation, and it's a huge myth that everyone ovulates on day 14. Depending on the length and regularity of the cycle, ovulation can occur on vastly different days. That's why it's important to track multiple ovulation indicators. So what exactly needs to be tracked? There are 3 main things that I track. The first one being basal body temperature, or BBT. This is the body's temperature at complete rest, so it's taken in the morning before your feet hit the floor. Here's what happens. After ovulation, the body releases progesterone, which causes a slight temperature increase, usually about 0.5 to 1 degree Fahrenheit. So before ovulation, daily temps tend to be lower. Then after ovulation, there will be a spike and then a sustained high temperature. The temperature shift confirms that ovulation has happened, but it does not predict it ahead of time. So BBT is great for confirming ovulation, but not super helpful when actually figuring out timing. And that's where OPKs come in, or Ovulation Predictor Kits. They predict ovulation before it happens. They are these things that you use, you take it to the bathroom, you pee on, and it detects an LH surge, or your luteinizing hormone. Right before ovulation, the body releases a big surge of LH, which triggers the release of the egg. OPKs predict ovulation around 12 to 36 hours before it happens, which is super helpful when you're trying to narrow down timing. A positive OPK means ovulation is coming soon. I've been using the digital kits, which you can get just about anywhere. But the regular test strips are, so I've even heard, better, and they're a lot cheaper, and you can buy them in bulk online. I start testing around day 10 of my cycle, and test once or twice a day until I get a positive. The third thing that I track is cervical mucus. So cervical mucus is one of the most reliable fertility signs, but it requires you to get pretty intimate with yourself. As ovulation approaches, cervical mucus changes. Right around ovulation, it becomes clear and stretchy and slippery, kind of like egg whites. And this is called fertile quality cervical mucus. And it helps the sperm survive in the body and travel to the egg. After ovulation, CM dries up and becomes thick. Checking around day 10 and recording how the mucus changes can help confirm the information from the BBTs and the OPKs. So let's talk about how to even just make this a routine. First, I have an Oura ring and I utilize natural cycles. The Oura ring will record my surface temperature and sync that information with Natural Cycles, which is an FDA-recognized birth control app that uses my user input to determine my unique fertile window. However, surface temperature is not the gold standard. An under-the-tongue thermometer taken right after waking is the most accurate way to get your BBT. So I like using my Oura Ring and Natural Cycles combo as a backup in case I forget to take my temperature or I take it incorrectly. And so every morning I wake up, grab my thermometer from the nightstand, and take my temperature using a specific basal body thermometer. I log this in a running note stock just on my phone, and then I later just transcribe that into a paper chart. The visual of the whole cycle on paper allows me to easily see the patterns and mark where ovulation is happening. I then, every morning, open my Oura app and sync the overnight sleep data with my Natural Cycles app. That's every day. Mid-cycle, around day 10, I use the OPK strips once or twice a day. I check cervical mucus when I'm in the bathroom, just before I go use the bathroom or something. And then I log everything in Natural Cycles and in the paper chart. Throughout the month, I'm noting symptoms. So if I'm having cramps, breast tenderness, mood shifts, I track my period, obviously. And I mark all of that in Natural Cycles and in the paper tracker. Now, this might seem like a lot, but honestly, it maybe takes 2 to 3 minutes a day. And I've been tracking this way for months, but as I get closer to our insemination date, and I'm maybe a month or two out, I actually plan to switch to a device called Aneto. Aneto is a fertility monitor that measures actual hormone levels, not just the yes or no, the regular OPKs, but actual numbers for estrogen, LH, and progesterone metabolites. This will give me a way more precise window of my fertility, and it'll help me confirm not just with my temperature, but also with hormone data. Now, the reason I'm not using it yet is because it is quite expensive. I mean, you're talking $150 for the monitor and $40 a month for test strips. And I just don't need that level of precision right now. As of right now, I'm just trying to get a good ballpark and get a clear pattern. So what have I learned from all of this tracking? For me, I've learned that my cycle is pretty consistent, off only by a day or so, usually landing around 27 to 28 day lengths. I typically ovulate around day 14 or 16, and my luteal phase is about 13 to 14 days, which is healthy and very reassuring. I also learned I get specific ovulation symptoms like increased energy and the kind of egg white, slippery cervical mucus. Tracking has helped me feel so much more confident and connected in my body, and confident that everything is functioning well and we should be good on this conception journey. And that's that. The next part of this series is all about how I'm treating pregnancy as a training goal. Gots to get that mom bod together. So if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. And to my queer fam planning conception, how are you preparing for timing? I mean, I want to hear it. Let's share what we're learning in the comments, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, friends.